Breaking Philadelphia news. I'm here at the Philadelphia Hard Rock Cafe. And for many years, Taboo and his sneakers, Taboo from the Black Eyed Peas, his sneakers graced the front of the Philadelphia Hard Rock Cafe. But now, look at this. It's a dress from the First Lady of Philadelphia. Pink. Very exciting. Bravo. I guess they just, they probably just threw Taboo shoes out. There you go. I'm here at the Winter Garden at City Hall, and we had a little bit of snow last night, but it's getting close to 40 degrees, so the snow's melting. But look, the Blair Witch Project deer are covered in snow, and they, all right, that one looks kind of creepy with the bag over its head, but they don't look as creepy as they usually look when snow's on top of them. They look kind of nice. Here we are, City Hall. Look at this. Oh, there's the office of the District Attorney of Philadelphia. Boo! Larry Krasner. Boo! Anyway, we're going for a walk. And today, I'm going to get back to the car. I don't want the office building. I want the Wanamaker building. I want to go in the department store. There it is. Oh, look at this. William Taft stood right on this star back in 1911. He was here when the store opened. You believe that? The President of the United States was here when they opened a store. Ribbon cutting ceremony. This was the Wanamaker building, owned by a man named John Wanamaker. Right here you go. He was the guy who started customer service returns. So let's say you bought something and you didn't like it. It had like a Wanamaker satisfaction guarantee, and if you weren't happy with it, you could bring it back. So he kind of invented receipts. Well, not receipts, but the whole, if you let's say you bought this cream and you meant to buy that, you could bring it back with the receipt and exchange it. Wanamaker did it. They don't make buildings like this anymore. Look how beautiful this is. It's now a Macy's. There's a Starbucks. Telling you, I was trying to get something to eat for a while. And there's no like Wawa's or 7-Elevens in Center City anymore. They all closed down because of shoplifting and rent going up. These old-time radiators. These are, if you ever get cold in Center City, Philadelphia, all you have to do is come into one of the entryways of Wanamaker's, and these things blast. It's probably 100 degrees in here. Not an exaggeration, not 100 degrees. 85 degrees in here. And now it's 35 degrees. Just like that. All right. Oh, look at this. Mrs. Doubtfire. It's here. Remember that movie? Well, they made it a musical. And, what? I remember they used to make musical movies, but now they make movies musicals. I used to be a theater major, and yeah, it's crazy that Grease started off as a play. Now I need to figure out where the hell I'm going. Grease started off as a play, and then they made it a movie, and Little Shop of Horrors was a play, and they made it a movie. I don't want holla food. Oh, we're gonna go this way. By the way, the car is about 4 miles the other direction. Man, look at the fire escape on that building. Ain't that beautiful? When you walk around these parts, everything kind of blends in to everything, and you take stuff for granted. Like, I probably walked past that fire escape a million times. I never noticed how great they look. There's a problem in New York City that some of those fire escapes are falling apart. People ask me all the time, they'll say, Captain, what is your favorite place in Philadelphia? And it's right here. This is my favorite place here at Jefferson Hospital. And this is the gate at Jefferson Hospital. And I swear to you, there's some human being that comes here every day and unlocks this gate. There's a padlock. Next time I come by and it's closed, I'll point it out to you. It's my favorite thing in the world. It's just the dumbest thing. I'm sure there's some symbolism there, but very dumb. This is kind of like the hospital corridor of Center City, Philadelphia. This is Samuel Gross. He was the father of American surgery. That's who he was. And down the street is Pennsylvania Hospital. And they had an observation deck. You ever see that episode of Seinfeld with the junior mints? Well, that's Samuel Gross, and he did some gross things. He was a doctor. He cut people open. I couldn't do that. I couldn't cut people open. I have a tough time getting a splinter out of my finger. What you are looking at is the front gate, or the gatehouse. This was the front gate, and this is the gatehouse to the first hospital in the United States, right here. This is it, Pennsylvania Hospital, birthplace of the Philly captain. And I'll show you actually what my actual, really, one of my favorite spots in Philly that not many people know about. You come in here, this is the front door to the hospital, built in 1755. And if you go down here, you will see the cornerstone of the hospital. And you're like, oh, so what? What's the big deal about the cornerstone? Well, the cornerstone was laid here by Ben Franklin. He did the whole Masonic rites thing, and it's covered in this plastic with this plug on top of it, like it should. And yeah, and this is it. This is what it says. In the year of Christ, MDCCLV. I don't know what that. I guess that's 1755. George II is happily reigning. Philadelphia is flourishing. This building, by the bounty of the government and many of its private persons, was built to help relieve the sick and miserable. There's so many places like this in Philly where you can go in and explore the grounds. And they actually have like a walking history tour. They talk about the old copula. Is that right? Is that how you say it? Oh, I get Samuel Gross. I was just talking about him. The operating theater, which I guess is a theater, was right here. You can see right on top of that building, there was a dome. And I think it had like a glass on top of it, so he could see it with, bright light, so you could see what you're doing. You want to see what you're doing when you're cutting people open. Yeah, then they got to update this. They have this little map. Well, they have these little things where they tell you about the history of what happened here, and they had a picture of the operating room, and you have another statue to the founder of Pennsylvania, William Penn. Check out the old lights. They were probably old gas lamps that they converted into electric lamps. I love this too. This is another cool thing. Check out this old fire hydrant. Can anybody tell me what year this fire hydrant's from? Look at the top of it. I love little things like that. Or this is how they would let you in. Check that out. It's big. Oh, no, let's not mess with that. If you look at these row homes on Walnut Street, you'll see this house at 715, and you notice this house is maybe 3 times as large as a regular row home on this block. And the reason why this house is so big is because a president lived here. Not a president of the United States, but a president of the Second Bank of the United States. And his name is Nicholas Biddle. And he lived right here. And he worked at the Second Bank of the United States, which was... it's only a few blocks in that direction. And Nicholas Biddle was also into architecture. So all of these houses across the street were built when Biddle was living here. And the front doors, you see those, the way the columns look kind of like Greek architecture? Well, that's called Greek Revival. It's kind of a tip of the cap to the first democracy back in the day. Biddle had the Second Bank of the United States, but their architecture was made Greek Revival, and it became a real big trend all across the city. And it's pretty neat. The dude could go out his front door and he could say, "Hey, you see that? I made those jerk-offs do that. They're biting off of me." Now these houses, these aren't houses anymore. I think they're part of Pennsylvania Hospital. But I love that. Another great thing about this part of the city, you ain't going to find railings like this anywhere. These railings were made by, now I don't know if it exactly these railings were, but some of the railings in this area were made by the same railing company that made railings that you would see at Mardi Gras at the French Quarter. The same railings where you see the guys throwing beads are made by this company. I'm almost certain this company, that I forget the name of the company, but yeah, just these are over 100 years old. They don't shake. Sturdy. This dude's gonna see his bride. I like it. Let's see. I think he's gonna see his bride for the first time. This is exciting. This is the Second Bank of the United States. And you see how it has those columns, kind of like a Greek temple. Well, that's what's going on. Look at this. He just saw his bride for the first time. Ain't that sweet? Aw. That's beautiful. Ain't that nice? I love love. I don't think I've ever seen that before. A guy seeing his wife before the wedding. That's something they do now. The bridal reveal. That way they could do the photos before the wedding. All right. I wonder if the bank's open today. We're going to go inside the Second Bank of the United States. I bet you we're the only people in here today. Check this place out, man. Wow. How cool is this place? You can still see signs of when this building was a bank. The bank tellers used to stand here. And right here, is where they're like little. Right here would be where the bank counter would be. The bank tellers would stand here. And back in this direction was the safe. This eagle used to be on display on the second floor of Independence Hall. There was a big museum. It looks similar. This is it. This is what the museum looked like, and they had all these stuffed animals on display on the second floor of the Independence Hall, and it was a Natural Academy of Science type thing where you could see stuffed animals. They were all owned by a guy named Charles Wilson Peale, who did the majority of the paintings in this museum. And matter of fact, all the paintings up here were all done by Charles Wilson Peale. Anyway, he sold that museum to P.T. Barnum, and P.T. Barnum took all of the stuffed animals except for this eagle, and every one of those animals that were on display at P.T. Barnum's museum burned in a fire. And this is the only stuffed animal that you could see that was on display at Independence Hall. And I believe it was a pet of Charles Wilson Peale. Pretty cool. Go Birds. And there it is. That's Charles Wilson Peale. And he's opening the door to his museum. Check out the chandelier. There you go. You got a big statue of Ben Franklin. Pretty cool. And here's a big portrait of George Washington. It wasn't done by Charles Wilson Peale, but one of his sons, Rembrandt Peale. He named his son Rembrandt. Check out the floor. How cool is this building? All right. And that's it. That was actually pretty crowded for I guess it's only open on the weekends in the winter. This is the Bicentennial Bell Garden. This bell was given to America by the people of England via Queen Elizabeth back in 1976. And this stand, look, they installed it. That's the left side. That's the right side. It's pretty neat. I usually watch historical monuments get destroyed. I don't really ever watch them get put in place. So that's cool. This was Bishop White's house. So this is what a house would look like back in 1776. Bishop White was the bishop to the Founding Fathers, the FFC, the Founding Father crew. So you notice the big difference between this house and another house I'm going to show you is the entryway, the steps, and we'll take note of the keystones around the windows. These are other houses, and you notice the windows are shaped differently. They don't have keystones. I believe these are like 1800 houses, mid-1800 houses. The doorway is square. This is the Todd house, and this is the house where Dolly Madison lived with John Todd back in 1776. Unfortunately for Dolly Madison, John Todd and her son, I think John Todd Jr., don't be writing book reports on that. They both caught the yellow fever, and I think they both died on the same week. And it is said, not this door, but somewhere around here there was a door that James Madison came up on the door, and he knocked on the door and he said, "Yo, cuz, I'm sorry your family died, and then they fell in love and they got married, and they had a house 2 or 3 blocks down the street. Directly right there is Independence Hall, and you cross the street, and you might have, I think this might be my favorite building in the city. It's the Urban Engineers building, and what they did is this white part of this building is actually, it's just a facade. It's oh, is it just a facade? Is that proper? You see, when they built this building, what they did is they kept the front of the building that used to be here, which was an old fire insurance company, and then, you know, the urban engineers, being the engineers that they are, preserved the front of the building and built their new building. Ain't that neat? So, it's pretty cool. This is behind, and this is all it is. Ladies and gentlemen, what you just heard was the Centennial Bell, and that bell was put in the tower of Independence Hall, 1876, and that bell weighs 13,000 pounds, and anytime you hear the number 13 in this Independence Hall area, that's a tip of the cap to the Founding Fathers, the FFC, the Founding Father crew. And made of 4 cannons. 2 cannons from the Battle of Gettysburg, one from the north, one from the south, and 2 cannons from the Battle of Saratoga, 1 British cannon, 1 American cannon, and they melted that down. They melted all 4 of those cannons down, and they made that big bell. And this is February. This is another great time to come here to the historic district. Their crowds are at the smallest they'll be. You don't need tickets to see Independence Hall. Oh, what a great time to come and visit the greatest city on earth, Philadelphia. I wish I could say earth better. This right here, this is Patty's Pub, and this is the bar from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. They're based out of this bar right here. But it's not the bar from the TV show. I forget one of the guys from the show, Mac. Mac has a bar he owns himself. It's on Market Street. It's called Mac's Tavern. And I think it's supposed to have like It's Always Sunny stuff inside there. There really isn't much inside Patty's Pub to tell you like, oh, It's Always Sunny. They also filmed the movie Philadelphia was filmed inside Patty's Pub. That was the bar they were watching the news. Denzel was in there, and he had an altercation with a guy inside the bar. Maybe I should do filming locations of the movie Philadelphia. Do I want to watch Philadelphia again? That's the thing. Do I want to? It's kind of like watching, you know, a sad movie. I don't know if I want to watch Tom Hanks die again. But if maybe I will one day. We'll do the filming locations of the movie Philadelphia. Hollywood history happened right here on 2nd Street. I auditioned for the movie Rocky Balboa right here in this building. I couldn't sleep the night before. I had one line. My line was, "Yo, Rock, take a picture with the kid. Is that all right?" And I went in here and I did my audition, and I didn't know anything. All I knew was that line. That's all I had. And so I go into the room to audition, and the guy goes, I said, where am I at where I'm talking to Rocky? They asked him to take pictures with the kid. And he said, "Oh, you're at Rocky's restaurant." And I was like, "What? Rocky owns a restaurant?" And he said, "Yeah, Rocky owns a restaurant named Adrian's." So I automatically think it's a pizzeria. So the whole, it was bad. It was a bad audition. I just had an audition for Major League Baseball for a TV commercial, and I had another bad audition for that. What I find when I do auditions for TV stuff and commercials for, I was a theater major. I always overthink my audition and overdo it, and my acting is horrible. So, yeah. I did eventually get to be in a Rocky movie. I was in Creed 2. I was an extra. I got to sit in the crowd while Apollo Creed's son fought Ivan Drago's son. And I was there for about 12 hours. They filmed one round that day. And all right.